family, Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. I've got Jam here with me. How you doing, mate?
Not so bad, thanks. Good evening.
Before we start, you got something to say about someone who said he passed away yesterday, I think, mate?
Yes, it was, yeah. Jeff LaBar from Cinderella. Sad news. Obviously, we know Cinderella haven't been doing a lot recently. I think I read somewhere that there's been problems in the band, but they haven't officially split up or anything. But obviously, fortunately, not expected death. But I won't go and speculate on what the causes were. But yeah, sad news. Another one's left too young, only 58 apparently.
Mate, 58 yeah. Scares the shit out of me. That does that, But such a shame. Another one lost. Great musician, great guitarist. Cinderella, great band. So
we all like Cinderella, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Okay, well, today's topic, though, mate, this was a bit of a last-minute thing, to tell you the truth. I said to Jam yesterday, depending on what comes of the Iron Maiden announcement, because there's been a little bit of glimpses of hints all week, a couple of videos, one from Bruce saying, basically, welcome to Belshazzar, is it? Feast?
Belshazzar's Feast, yeah.
Belshazzar's Feast, and getting everyone riled up, speculating what it's going to be. Some thought it would be nothing, and some people thought it, but they've already announced, obviously, they're going to carry on with the tour, so it would have had to be something completely different. So people have been like guessing the name of the album. They've been leaving little cryptic stuff everywhere, and I don't know what that was. Anyway, so we actually got a song. I mean, I've already done a reaction which Jam hasn't seen. So he doesn't know what I think of the song. I don't know what he thinks of the song. We thought we'd save it to the program, but last night I messaged Jam and said, do you fancy coming on? And if it is a song, or maybe the announcement of an album, doing a little program, what we expect, what we thought of the song, what we want from the album, blah blah blah. And this is a bit off the cuff. This is, we've got no script. We've got no script or anything like that. So it's just interesting because it's big news, isn't it? It's big news. It's been a while. 6 or 7 years, yeah. So obviously, Book of Souls was the last album, and then we got a song today. So I'm actually really waiting in the anticipation for your view of that song. Have you listened to it once, twice?
I watched the video, same as you, live when it was on, and then just as I sat down to my tea, because my tea was waiting to be cooked. Planet Rock obviously suddenly emailed it, and they suddenly put it on. So I've heard it twice in a row. So twice I've heard it.
I've only actually heard it. When I put the live thing on, I waited for a few seconds, and when some music started, I stopped it because I thought I need to do a reaction. So I didn't. I've actually listened to it I must have been about 6:30, 20 past 6:30, something like that. So come on in, mate. What do you reckon?
Well, when I heard it, because on YouTube, obviously they cut the sound quality a bit, so you don't bootleg it. So it sounded, the sound quality isn't great if you watch it. I didn't think it was them because the music was starting. I thought this was just like an intro to what they were going to announce or something, and I didn't realise it just suddenly started. So that sort of threw me a bit because I thought it doesn't sound like Maiden, the first intro, the first rhythm. And then I thought, and it went on for a bit, and I was thinking, is Bruce going to sing in a minute, or is this still just sort of an intro to something? And then obviously he starts singing. It's like, oh, right, okay, so this is the song. But yeah, I like the intro. And then obviously the video sort of distracts you a bit when you listen to the music. But he went into the chorus, which is pretty good. And then the song sort of builds up. Builds up a bit. I think it's about 7 minutes long, 6.5, 7 minutes long. So it's a typical thing, and it's got a very long solo at the end. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It had a bit of a I don't want to put people off. I know people don't like it, but it had a bit of a Mother Russia feel to me for it. It had a bit of that sort of that sort of thing in it. But I love that song. If you've seen my videos of this before, I love that song. So that's good for me. So with all that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's not quite the galloping, fast intro song that you normally release from their first single. So it's a bit different, but I liked it.
At first, when the guitar came on, I got a sort of bit of a weird sort of southern rock sort of feel on the guitar on its own, only on its own. Then those melodies came in, and like many of their songs these days over the last few albums, that sort of folky sort of feel with the melody, sort of the melody you're going on about with the Mother Russia song. They've got this sort of folk within their music now, haven't they? That sort of sound, their melodies, like you said, them sort of things going on. Now, you did say about the quality, the sound quality. Now, in my reaction video, which you'll see, I'm a bit hung up on what their albums are sounding like. The last few albums. Kevin Shirley in it produces these albums.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think he's produced everything since Bruce came back. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah. When did Martin Birch retire? I can't remember. Farmer Birch retired.
Yeah, I know he didn't do Brave New World. I think it was Kevin Shirley. But that Brave New World album had a completely different production than the rest of these albums. Very sharp energy in it. Do you know what I mean? There's real energy in that. You notice even the snare drum on that Brave New World is like, it really smacks, and you can. I think they've lost that from Dance of Death onwards. Their production's very muddy, and Maiden don't. This is not a dig at the band whatsoever, because I actually really like the song, but I think it's affecting the music, because I think it needs to be, you need to hear everything, because they're very complex, aren't they? They're a very complex band, and now they have got free guitarists as well. You couldn't tell that on Brave New World. It didn't sound like free guitars muddling everything up. I don't know about you, but you know, like on those old albums, on the classic Maiden albums, when Dave Murray used to like kick in with his solo, he had a certain like warmth to his sound of his guitar, and then Adrian Smith used to come in, and it was a bit more sharper, and you could tell the difference. That's Adrian Smith, that's Dave Murray. I can't tell now who's playing them solos. They're good. They're good, and I think it was a great extended solo.
I thought it was good actually.
But I liked it when you knew who was playing, and I think they've lost a bit of that.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, not many bands have three guitarists. Now, how do you integrate them all? I mean, have Halloween got three now? They might have, haven't they?
Halloween have got three. Accept have got three. Halloween have got three. German band called Primal Fear, they've got three. Yeah. So it's becoming more and more, popular to have three. But whether it's, I'm not having a go at Yannick Gers either, even though a lot of people do. They can't stand him, can they? Because of the way he prances about. But I think he's a great guitarist. But I think all three of them now have got a very similar guitar sound, and I can't tell the difference who's playing what.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a guitar expert, but
No, neither am I. That's why it's difficult for me to comment on it. I just say, when I heard it the second time, it was on the radio, as I say, they played it on Planet Rock, and I thought it sounded a lot better. Because obviously they're going to strip down the quality for YouTube, because you can rip the music from you, so you can't, from a YouTube video. So I'm guessing they put it down to like a 128 kps. So that's, for me, it didn't sound very particularly good. But when it was on the radio, it did sound better. So maybe when you hear it a second time, you might think it's.
I hope so. I hope so. We spoke about what we want from the album. What I really want is a better mix and production. Because even though I'm not saying it's awful, but I think Maiden are so, like I said, complex and progressive that they need that sharpness so you can hear everything. And I think they lose some of that sometimes, because of the mix in the album. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't listen to it live. I listened to it after. So maybe I wasn't.
Maybe it's just because, maybe because there's so many people streaming it.
Yeah. It may have been, but hopefully that's the main thing I want out of a Maiden album, because I understand how they've progressed since. I don't want them playing the same stuff, even though I love Peace of Mind and Power Slave. We know that they're not, they're not going to go back to that sort of stuff. They are what they are, and I think it's a good thing, because they're totally different now. Do you know what I mean? And they progressed as a band for sure. But I just wish they had that sharpness about them, and I think that's a lot to do with the mix. I really do. But the song itself was pretty cool, wasn't it? It wasn't, like you said, I was a bit surprised. It wasn't fast or anything like that.
Yeah,
it was surprised. What else was I going to say? Bruce Dickinson. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, because I waited till the end of my reaction video to mention. I mentioned everything else apart from Bruce Dickinson. So he had problems, obviously, with throat cancer in Book of Souls recording. But even before that, I think obviously he's getting a lot older. I don't even know how old he is now, 60 something, I suppose.
Could be 60 or something, yeah.
I think on recordings now, and I know he can't do it in his live because he needs to repeat those older songs, I think he needs to stick to the lower range. Sometimes when he's stretching, he really sounds like he's stretching. Do you remember, like on the last album, Speed of Light, on that chorus, you think, oh Bruce, don't, you know, stick to the lower range because you need to know your limitations, don't you? You've got a great voice still. Yeah. And he did that on this song. I don't know if you noticed, it was very lower range. And he had a great, I thought it sounded great, not better than anything on Book of Souls for me. And even before that, I think he's, whether he's going to do that across the album, I think he felt like he sort of, you know, maybe he's listened to himself back on some of those recordings, think that he sounds like he's stretching a little bit. I don't know what you think about Bruce's singing on this one.
Well, in general, I mean, I've seen a few clips of him recently, and obviously he's done Book of Souls tours and he's done tours since. His voice has changed, just speaking wise. You can tell that he's not the same. He doesn't sound the same vocally like he used to do, just speaking. So he's obviously going to struggle to sing and hit different notes. So he's going to have change what he did. But I mean, yeah, the vocals were good in it. But as you say, he wasn't trying to reach any high air raid siren type things. But I mean, even anybody would struggle at over 60 or 50 to hit those notes. So I think we're lucky he can still go and do a lot better job than a lot of people can. But yes, we're not going to get power slave vocals, are we? I don't think anymore, never again.
No, it's not going to be like 1982 anymore, is it? We know that. But he's still done a great job. Another thing I miss in Maiden songs in general is hearing Steve Harris's bass the way I used to hear it. You know that he had a totally different sound than any other bass player, isn't he? And I think these days Steve Harris seems to follow the guitar rather than have his own identity. You can hear that sort of metallic noise coming out. It didn't even sound like a bass guitar in the old days. It sounded something different. I don't think we get that much anymore, do we?
I watched it with my brother, and the first thing he said is, "You can't hear Steve Harris's bass on it. Once again, it could be the sound quality on it, but we couldn't hear that sort of the what's it called, the galloping bass." I mean, it's not that sort of song. It wasn't a fast song, but you used to hear it through because obviously he turned it up in the mix all the time, didn't he? But,
exactly.
Was it the song written by Bruce? It said to me Bruce's concept. I didn't see the titles.
Yeah, I think it said story. It said story by Bruce Dickinson at the end. So perhaps
he wrote the song or not.
Do we know if I didn't even look? They haven't got an album announced, have they? It's going to be Belshazzar's Feast, isn't it? That's what they named the album, isn't it? Surely.
Well, I had to look this up. Don't get me wrong, but when they're in the mythology, Belshazzar's Feast was a story about the writing on the wall. So it's something that happened. So I don't know if the album might, but I'm not. I wouldn't. Or it might be called Belshazzar's Feast. I don't know, but I don't think it's a given. I think they were just hinting because the writing on the wall story came from this feast apparently, or something like that. The expression we use, the writing on the wall, something like that anyway. But there's nothing at the end that said new album out now or anything. I waited right to the end of the titles, so there's nothing new there.
I think everything. I mean, Nico McBrain sounded great on it, but it's still. I think the mix on his drums now. I want to hear that. Even Brave New World, that snare really was sharp. I think we miss a bit of that. It sounds like we're having a go at Maiden, but I said on my reaction video that you become so. What you expect that you're going to be like saying stuff. But I think the main problem with Maiden, it ain't a problem, but is the mix of the songs. But hopefully the actual album will sound better than what we just heard. But that's only opinions as well. Probably people ain't got a problem with Kevin Shirley's production whatsoever. Kevin Shirley actually produced the last the Treatment album. I don't know if you know, the AC/DC. And it sounds brilliant. They're the mix on it, but it's a totally different band. That's the thing. That I don't know what I think we're going to get the same sort of thing on this album, that folky, progressive sort of stuff. But I did say one thing on my reaction video that have you noticed that because quite a lot on some of their songs lately, on the last few albums, when it comes to a chorus, they like to repeat the chorus a lot. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of their songs are 8 or 9 minutes. Fucking 4 minutes of that is probably just repeating the chorus. They didn't really do that on this one, which I was happy.
No, it wasn't too bad, was it?
But. So yeah, that was quite a cool thing. But yeah, anyone out there who thinks I've got a problem with Maiden, I just think they need to be. You need to say what you think because we have high expectations. They're one of my favourite bands.
There's bands out there. You mentioned yourself that on certain channels that everything they do, even if it's like shit, everyone will just claim it's absolutely the best thing in the world or ever. You've got to be objective, and a lot of things is good, but
I like a lot about the song. I really do. So I am really looking forward to the album. Don't know when it's going to be out yet, but
No. I hope the album's a bit slimmer than Book of Souls. I don't want a double 27 songs on it. I'd like a more compact, like Matter of Life and Death. I mean, I didn't particularly like the album, but 8 songs, wasn't it? I think all about 5, 6, 7 minutes. I think that's about enough. Yeah. If they're all going to be longish.
Yeah, I mean that was one of my favourite albums from.
I know you liked it. But
in the last,
it,
the lot of since Bruce has been back, A Brave New World being me. I used to like it better than Brave New World, and I think that, but that production again on Matter of Life and Death, I think it's stayed the same since Dance of Death. There's been an issue for me with the production on the albums, but that's some people don't mind about, they don't really look into that sort of thing. It's just a big thing for me. I think it loses the energy for me.
Yeah.
But mate, any last words? I mean, it's just I like the song.
Yeah, I do as well.
Looking forward to the album. Obviously, I do think we're going to get if people thought we was going to get a complete turnaround and some 4-minute songs, you might get one, but other than that, it ain't going to happen, is it? You're going to get long songs now from Maiden, but
I think so.
As long as they're interesting, that's the main thing. Long songs can be, as long as they're interesting, that's cool. Well, thanks for joining. Go on, mate.
The only thing I was going to say was it's going to be interesting because they've already announced they've moved the what they call it, Legacy of the Beast tour to next year. Yet they're bringing out new music, so I don't know if they're just going to, how they're going to do that. They're going to, delay playing the new stuff for 2 years, or integrate it into that, or cancel and change it to this tour. Who knows?
I mean, I went to see one of the Legacy of the Beast dates, but did they play anything off the Book of Souls?
No,
nothing.
No, it's all old stuff. Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought I've heard the opening track. I thought I heard that.
Well, maybe you did. I mean, from what I know is they do the legacy tours, don't they? And then they do the new album tours, and alternate between the two every few years. And I saw them on both. And they did on Book of Souls. Obviously, they do most of that, and then a few new ones. And on Legacy tour, which I think, I don't know where I saw. I think that was before. Oh, I don't know. But they just stuck to the period they wanted to do, and I don't think they did anything really. No, I think they might have done Red and the Black or something from. Was that on the album? Was that on the album before? I don't know. But I don't think they did anything off. Go on, they might have done. But,
I'm sure I heard from Eternity Shall Fail, whatever that's that.
Maybe they did one off it.
But I mean, I suppose they, even though it's a legacy tour, they could probably stick one song, couldn't they? In it, doesn't matter. Fans would love it anyway, wouldn't they? But I don't know. Sometimes you want to hear something newer rather than Run to the Hills and Number of the Beast. And I know it's cool when you're there, but sometimes something a bit different. There's so many good Maiden songs. I just like them to mix it up a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Still Life and I don't know,
definitely, yeah.
Something
Deja
like
Vu, Alexander the Great.
Yeah, like things like that. Something a bit different, but that would go down huge. If the fans heard them songs.
Roll Out Killers Again or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, man, a bit of off the cuff thing, but I think it's pretty cool. We had to talk about it. It's big news, isn't it? So new Maiden song, no new Maiden album yet, but I'm sure over the next few days we're going to hear something about stirrings about a new album. But thanks for joining me, man. Last minute.
Okay, no worries. Cheers.
Cool. I'll see you later, guys.